friends, welcome back to the Craft Castle. My name is Ashley and I made the coolest thing on my xtool P2 today, only doing design work within xtool. What I ended up making was this right here, and it's a family calendar with all of our family celebrations that we celebrate throughout the year. I already mentioned this, but the coolest thing about this project is that I designed the entire thing within xtool's creative space. Now, I used to have a Glowforge. Keyword here, used to. I no longer have it because I think that's a piece of junk. But regardless of that, the one thing that I love the most about my xtool P2 versus the Glowforge is that the xtool creative space is completely free. So I can design really cool signs like the sign that I created today, all within the xtool program and it being free. Now, there are a lot of things I didn't like about the Glowforge. One of which, though, is the fact that they wanted to charge for their design program. So then you're gonna have to learn a whole new system on top of already spending thousands of dollars on a machine. So I'm so thankful that xtool has a free program and it's actually very user-friendly. Now, let me show you how easy it is to create this sign all within xtool's creative space. Let's go. So the very first thing you want to do is open up a blank window in Creative Space. I would like to note that it's easier to design when your xtool is off because your screen is all white. The second you turn on your laser, you're gonna get an updated look at what your laser bed looks like, and then it turns black and you can't hardly see anything when you design. So just keep your laser turned off for the meantime. The very first thing I'm gonna do is go into insert, and I'm going to insert a rectangle. Now you can make this any size that you want because this is going to be your sign. Now this right here is going to be the backer of our sign, and I'm going to want this to be a cut. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up here into insert, and I'm gonna insert a circle, and I'm just gonna make a circle. Any size, doesn't matter right now. Then what I'm going to do is come up here and I'm going to unlock this, and I'm going to make this circle 0.25 completely round. When I have that done, I'm just going to press return, and it is going to look really small. That is okay. We are going to drag this down to right here. Now we're going to need 12 of these circles because we have 12 months of the year. So you just want to take your one circle, Command C, Command V, copy and paste. And we are going to duplicate these 12 times. Okay, now what you want to do is selecting all your circles. We are going to come over here and we want to turn these into a cut file because this is what we are going to put our jump rings into. Now what I'm going to do is just taking my very last right circle and I'm going to drag it all the way over to close to the end. And then what I'm going to do is selecting all my circles again. I'm going to come up here to align, and I'm going to make sure and align these vertically and then align again and distribute these horizontally. So now they're going to be evenly spaced throughout my board. So now what we need to do is add in our engraved months. So we're going to go up here into the text box. Now, in order to edit your texts in xtool, you have to come over here to the right, and we're just going to put January for the first one. Now you can pick the font that you want to use for your sign. Okay, so when you have picked your font, the next thing you want to do is click on engrave. And then I'm going to drag my January over and I'm going to put it right here inside my sign above my circles. Then what I'm going to do is selecting my January, I'm going to copy and paste. And I'm going to bring this over to here to the second position. And I'm going to come up here into the text box and I'm going to put in February. Now that I have February, I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to drag this over to my third position, and I am going to put in MAR for March. Now you want to do the same steps until you get all the way to December. So I've actually changed my mind on how I want my circles to look on my sign. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in my December and then my January to where I want their finished locations to be. I'm going to select all of my months. So shift on my keyboard and I'm just clicking and selecting all of the months. Then what I'm going to do is come up here to align, and we are going to align these vertically. And then I'm also going to distribute these horizontally. So now all of our months are going to be evenly distributed in between. Essentially, we already did this with our circles, but we're going to readjust them now. So what I'm going to do now is select the very first circle that's over here on the left underneath January, shift on my keyboard, and then January. And I'm going to align these horizontally. So you can see that the only thing that moved was this circle went underneath directly in the middle of January. Coming back over to the December one, I'm going to click the circle that's underneath December, shift on my keyboard, and then that December, and then December. We're going to go to align and then align these center. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and select every single circle that's underneath my lettering. And I am just going to come up here to align and then distribute these horizontally. Okay, so now what I want to do is add in the word family. This is what's going to be the raised portion of our sign. So I'm just going to come up here and press text, and I'm going to write in the word family. And at this point, what you can do is select the font that you're using for family. This right here is my most favorite script font. So I'm just going to make this big. Now, at this point in time, what you want to do is weld your text, because you can see that there's like these lines right here. When we go to cut this out on our acrylic, what's going to happen is this is all going to get cut out individually, and then it'll look like crap. So what you want to do is first make sure that your spelling is correct and then press weld. Now for this one right here, I want to keep it as a score mark. I'll explain that later, but just know that we want one to be score. And I'm going to put this inside my sign, kind of eyeballing how big I want it right now. Now what I want to do is insert another text box that says celebrations. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to select one of my text box down here because I want to use that same font. And I'm just going to copy and paste. That was going to be a lot easier than trying to locate the font again. So I just dragged that up here. And now over in the text, I want to write in the word celebrations. Okay, then I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. And now I want this one to sit in between the F and the Y. This is your sign, so you can create it any way you want. But I just want to create it, the sign that fits nice and snug inside the F and the Y. Okay, and then what you can do is selecting both pieces like this. You can just come over here and we can rearrange these. Let's select the backer of our sign, and we can come up here to align and then center it. So family is completely centered, and we're just going to push this over. Looks good. I love this. So because we copied and pasted this over here, this right here is still engraved. Now this right here is score, but I need another piece of this to be an acrylic piece. So what I'm going to do is copy and paste this, and I'm going to drag this up here so it's out of our work area for right now. And now I want to take this and make this a cut. This right here, I'm going to cut out of acrylic. This right here, I want to score. So the next thing we want to do is add the circles into our sign. So we just want to select our circles, copy and paste. And I'm going to drag this circle up here to the corner of my sign. Now I need one for the other side. So I'm going to select this, copy and paste. And I'm going to drag this over to the right corner. Now what I want to do is select both circles that we've created. We are going to come up here to align these vertically. And I'm going to Command G, which is group. And then what I'm going to do is pressing Shift on my keyboard, I am going to select my rectangle, and I'm going to align these to the center. Now you can see when I did that, my circles just shifted a little bit to the left. This is why doing that step was so important, because those circles were just a hair off of being centered. So you want to make sure that you have it completely centered onto your sign so it doesn't hang weird. Okay, now I'm going to click those circles, and I'm just going to right click and do ungroup. I don't need those grouped together. And I just want to verify that this is a cut, which it is. Okay, now what we want to do is make our circles, those little medallions that we're going to hang off the bottom of the sign. I'm going to select everything up here and just drag them up just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to click one of these circles, and I'm going to copy and paste, Command C, Command V. And I'm going to lock this up right here. Let's just change this over to 1 inch and press return. And then what I like to do is Command C and Command V. copy and paste, and I'm gonna drag this over here. The reason why I have two is because I'm gonna select both of these circles. Now you can see that they aren't gonna touch. They're in the middle of this. They're gonna hang directly in the middle, and they're not touching. These look very small. So let's select both of these, and we're just gonna make them bigger. And you can see that now this circle is in the middle of this circle's in the middle of this circle, and it looks like I could get a little bit bigger because there's still a gap in between these two circles. So I'm gonna select both circles again, doing the same thing. Okay, so now when I resize these, you can tell that there is just a little gap in between these two circles. This circle is in the middle of this, which is perfect. And same thing over here. It's gonna be in the middle of that. So when I go and cut this out and assemble, you're gonna have a little gap like this, which I think is perfect. You definitely don't want these to overlap because then it'll look really weird. So now that I got the size of the circles that I like, I'm just gonna delete this one for right now. Then what I'm going to do is select this circle that's up here, and I'm going to Command C and Command V, and I'm going to drag this into the middle of my big circle. Okay, and then for these circles right here, I actually want to change the size over. So I'm going to lock these right here, and I'm going to change these over to 0.1 and press return. So these little circles, I want to make them pretty close to the top of my larger circles. So then I'm just going to select my small little circle, copy and paste, and I'm going to drag this down. Okay, selecting both these smaller circles, what I want to do now is I'm going to align these horizontal, making sure they're nice and straight together. And then I'm going to Command G, which is group. Then what I'm going to do is select my larger circle, and I'm going to align these to this horizontal center. And then I also want to align these vertically together. So now what I'm going to do is select those little circles. I'm going to right click and press ungroup. And then all I'm going to do is select all of my circles right here, the large one and those two littles. And then I'm just going to Command G, which is group. So these right here are going to be grouped all together. So if you wanted to, what you could do now is now personalize every single one of these medallions that you're going to need. So let's say that you're going to need 20 of these medallions for your entire family calendar. So all you would do is copy and paste these larger medallions 20 times. And then what you would do is take this January text box or any text box that's on this screen really, and you want to copy and paste it and put it inside your medallion. At this point in time, what you can do is you can edit your text box, and then you would put this inside your medallion so it fits. So then when we go to cut this out, you will actually have personalized medallions for your sign. However, for me in my project, I'm gifting this to my mother-in-law for Mother's Day, and I'm not quite sure what all holidays she likes to celebrate or keep in mind for different family celebrations. So all I'm gonna do is make a bunch of these circles so she can hand write them in with a pen of her choice. Now the design process is completely finished. So what we need to do now is head over to the table, mask our wood, and then set up our laser cutter.
Generally, when you get your wood, it's going to come unmasked. I always like to take a roll of masking tape. The supplies I use are going to be linked in the description of this video, but I like to take my roll of masking tape and just put it onto my piece of wood. I will show you why this is really important when we go to assemble this, but just know, always mask your material.
When you insert your piece of wood, you want to make sure that you center your piece of wood onto your bed tray, but then also you're going to notice that with my piece of wood, it's not completely level or straight, so there is some wiggle room. So if you have pinned down, if you have a honeycomb tray and you can do the honeycomb pins, use that. Otherwise, I have this stuff right here. This is what came with my xtool, and this is what holds your material down. And all you do is you take this piece right here. This right here is going to grab onto the bottom of your slat. So you're just going to put it underneath your slat and then pull it up over your piece of material. Now I do have to say these are a pain in the butt to have to put onto your material, but they're definitely crucial to getting really good cuts on your pieces of material. So now you can see when I've done all the pin downs for the corners, my material is nice and snug onto my bed, and I won't have any issues with it getting like an uneven cut or an engrave. Okay, so when we get done doing that, then all you want to do is shut the lid to your machine. Now what you need to do is define your user material. So coming over here to material, I am going to select the 3mm basswood plywood. I am also going to take this little aiming tool and I'm going to auto measure onto my material. You want to make sure that wherever you put this box is going to be onto your material. Then what you want to do is arrange your material to where you can serve as much space as possible. And then you want to add in as many circles as you need for your calendar. Copy and pasting all of your circles into your material. So when you have all your circles placed onto your board, what you need to do now is go ahead and press process and then press start. If you're using the xtool fan, you want to turn that on before you start. And then what you want to do is press your magic button and watch your machine do the cuts. Okay, and then when it's done, all you need to do is take out all of your pieces. Okay, and then for the name, I'm going to be using some of xtool's black acrylic. So all I'm going to do is just put this into the machine and shut the lid on the machine. Okay, so now with that acrylic in there, what you need to do is come up here and press refresh. And then what you want to do is take everything off that was initially wood and bring it down away from the rectangle that is your workspace on your xtool. Then what I'm going to do is click out of that and I'm going to change my material over to the 3mm black acrylic, and then also going to do a set focus onto the material. While that's working, what I'm going to do is take this right here, our family, this is what's going to be cut out in acrylic, and I'm just going to place this onto my piece of acrylic, and I'm just going to rotate it so it all fits on my piece of acrylic. Okay, when you're done doing that, then all you need to do is press process and then press start. Then at the machine, you want to turn your vent fan on and then press your button. Okay, now that that's done cutting, you can just take this off your bed and everything should fall out really easy and simple. And actually, this ended up being not black. It was a royal blue color, like a navy color. Oh my gosh, this is actually really pretty. Okay, let's take this over to the table to assemble. Okay, I'm actually going to leave it as this translucent blue color because I actually think it looks really good. So all you need to do is take a weeding tool pick or a plastic razor blade, and you just want to take off the masking tape. This plastic razor blade really does come in handy for the masking tape that's in between the lettering and stuff. It definitely goes a lot quicker than doing it by hand with the weeding tool pick. Now, because we use the masking tape, you will notice that there's zero charring anywhere. This thing right here looks professionally done because we use the masking tape. Even the back is clean, nice and clean, and looks gorgeous. Okay, now we need to peel our acrylic. I like to take the back layer off first before I do the top because I am going to be handling this a lot. I don't want it to pick up my fingerprints or the glue that I'm using. So I always wait until my glue is dry to peel off the front of my acrylic. Okay, now that I have all the masking tape taken off the back of this, what I'm going to do now is take some clear silicone glue. Okay, I always use clear silicone glue whenever I'm gluing any type of acrylic. This stuff right here, especially when it's going to be clear, because this I ended up using clear acrylic versus black, but this stuff right here dries clear, so we shouldn't have any glue marks when this stuff is all dry. So when I don't have a whole lot of glue on my entire piece, all I'm going to do now is, this is why I'm using the score for these for like the family, is because now we can line up our lettering perfectly to our board and how we designed it. It's like a neat little trick that I love, is that we can just use the score lines and now we know exactly where to glue down our lettering. Okay, and then for that right there, I'm just going to put a dot down on my piece of wood, and then I'm going to just pick this up and place it down. So now what you want to do is let this dry before we take off any of the masking tape. Now when it comes to assembly of this, what you would need is some jump rings. I have a few different size jump rings and then also some like fancier looking ones right here. But all you need is different size jump rings. You would take one, loop it into your circle, and then you would take the other hole that you were going to put it in, and you would loop it in the hole, and then you would close them together. And then you can just keep making your chains as you keep going down. Now, didn't this sign turn out absolutely amazing? I mean, this thing right here is gorgeous. And it did not take a whole lot of time to make, which I absolutely love. So there are a lot of things that I love about my xtool, but one of the main things that I love is the fact that the program is completely free. So we are spending thousands on a laser, and they give us a free program that actually creates really cool stuff. If you have an xtool P2, what are your thoughts and opinions on the laser cutter? And if you don't have one, what's holding you back from getting one? I want to hear all your thoughts and opinions. Put them in the comments of this video, and I'll see you next time.